Welcome everyone. Today we are going to make some bread, no egg, and one rise. This is a very versatile bread. I use this recipe to make mainly sub sandwich rolls for me. I also do garlic dinner rolls as I'm doing today. I do hamburger buns with it. I do hot dog rolls with it. Totally depends on you what you want to do with it. So here is the recipe. I will list the ingredients in the description section under the video and the measurements. Okay, we're going to start with some flour. You can use all-purpose flour if you want, no problem. I always use bread flour for mine, unless I run out and don't want to go pick up any, then I'll use all-purpose if I have it available. Some salt, sugar, and yeast. And I'm using instant, fast-acting yeast. This package contains 2 teaspoons and 1/4 of a teaspoon. And it's very important that your yeast work. And it's possible to buy a brand new pack of yeast with an end date, good date on it, and the yeast not work. That happens. That happens to me. Well, it's happened to me a couple of times. So it's possible. So it can be your yeast that might ruin your bread. Okay, we have our sugar, salt, and the yeast in. And you can use the yeast that you need to let bubble up or foam. It's no problem. I have definitely used that. I just like using this yeast because when I use it, my bread is ready so quickly because it's one rise. And here's a tip. I don't just cover my bread and let it sit out in a warm area anymore in the kitchen for it to rise. I prepare my bread as if I'm going to bake it right then. Put it on my baking pan in my oven that I have warmed up to about 200 degrees and shut the oven off. And I'll put the bread on the very top rack. And in about 25 to 30 minutes, my bread is risen. And then I go into the baking session. So I have bread really quickly. Okay, that's mixed well enough. Now, switch over to the spoon. So I'm putting in some olive oil. Make sure I get all that in there. 2 tablespoons of melted but cooled down butter. Cooled down to like room temperature. It can still be warm, but cooled down to just about room temperature. And the room temperature is kind of warm here right now because it's winter. Okay, I have a cup of, it's mixed. It's a combination of water and milk. It's a 1/2 cup of regular milk and a 1/2 cup of water. And I've got it to the temperature that is on the package label of the yeast that I'm using, which with instant yeast, it's kind of high. In fact, it's 130 degrees Fahrenheit. No egg recipe. Keep an eye out for that. So I just bring it together. Now, I do have to knead this bread. I mean this, dough. I have to knead it. You can use a machine, that's perfectly fine. I do mine by hand. I just like doing that. So I bring it out to my work area. And I'm going to knead this for about 5 minutes because I'm using bread flour, which is very well refined. And doesn't take that much kneading for bread flour. But if you're using all-purpose flour, you're looking at about 10 minutes, depending on the quality of the all-purpose flour you're using. If I said that right, I hope. So I'm just going to knead this for about 5 minutes. As soon as I get it to where I can manipulate it. And I'm using just a little extra flour for that. And it just takes a little extra flour, about 1.5 to 2 minutes to get it to where I can work it. A little bit too sticky. So if you're doing it by hand, like I am, just use tiny bits of dry flour until you get it to where you can handle it without it sticking to you too much. And this is still sticky. Getting better though, getting better. So I like to slap and roll. And I do this for 5 minutes with bread flour. All-purpose flour, I do it for about 10 minutes because I want my bread to come out nicely. Slap, or you actually can call it throw and roll. I just throw it and roll it for 5 minutes. And I'm always watching the clock. This is the texture we want to get. It's okay if the bread sticks a little bit, but not overly sticky. And what I did for 5 minutes is just throw it and I roll it. This is what we want. This makes our bread good. Now I want to just roll a ball like that simply. I'm going to tidy it up and I'll be right back. And we are back. I use parchment paper on my baking pan for my bread. Now, I'm simply going to cut this in half. I am not good with measurements. So, I do it this way. In there. And just split it down again. Bring it together. It's about half. And here's a tip. If you really like garlic and you want it really garlicky, you can actually put in 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder as you're making the batter, or 1/2 teaspoon. Depends on how much garlic you desire. So I roll it a little bit like this, make it neat, like that, and on the pan it goes. Very simple. Took everything under, make a little ball, and then we are rolling. That's it. And into our oven we go. Now, I'm going to put it in the top of my oven, which is warm, and allow it to rise. While we are waiting for our bread to rise, I am going to make our butter garlic topping. I have a couple of tablespoons of melted but cooled down butter here, 2 cloves of minced garlic, fresh garlic. You can use garlic powder. It's absolutely no problem. And we're going to put in some freshly chopped parsley and give it a good mix. After the rolls have baked, we're going to spread this on the very top. Oh, that smells so good. Okay. Okay, our rolls have risen. Now, I'm going to put them in the oven, which is now at the temperature of 350 degrees. They're going to bake for about 25 minutes, maybe 30, depending on your oven. And it only took, let's see, 24 minutes for them to rise. This is one rise. And our rolls have baked. They are ready. Now we're going to spread our garlic butter. Oh, if you could smell that fresh baked bread smell in here, and this garlic. Absolutely divine. And that's it, guys. Delicious garlic dinner rolls. Freshly baked. And after we spread this on there, give it a minute and a half. And they're absolutely ready to devour. No egg. Soft, fluffy, delicious. Oh, it smells so good. And it's still very hot. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy.